Well, he came out to watch, but he's not in the picture. It's about trees. I'm Francine Michel. I'm a painter. I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida, and we're here at Boyd Hill, right on the outskirts of St. Pete. I found many of the trees that were of interest to me in this park, and I came here very often to paint them. At the beginning of the pandemic, things slowed down, and I was able to take a walk in my own neighborhood and notice the different trees that had been there for years that I never had a chance to see. I started noticing them when they were young, when they were old, and different things about them, how they changed during the different seasons. And I began a series of trees, and specifically Florida trees. So after that, I began to go out and find a Florida tree wherever they were located. I came here to Boyd Hill. I'd go to the Florida Botanical Gardens to find a gumbo limbo tree because they're not everywhere in this part of Florida. So I would find a tree that I thought was of interest to me, and then I'd set up my easel and begin to paint. Here, I guess you would say that this would be my studio for a while, and then I'd finish with some touches of wax back in my home studio. Well, there's a lot of books, like each tree has a different meaning, and each tree has, some cultures think trees have spirits as well. So maybe some of those were reaching me in some way, and as I said, they've been here for years. I've seen 200-year-old trees once I got started, and baby trees just beginning. So I never got tired. There's so many beautiful trees in Florida. I started out many years ago doing Chinese landscapes, and I would travel to China also. I went there about 5 times and picked up materials, tips, and got excited about what I was seeing. Came home and did a lot of work in Chinese bamboos, Chinese trees as well, and using brushes that I had bought in China, using paint that I had bought in China. So it was a pretty interesting journey for me to follow in that footstep. At the same time, I also did encaustic work. But it wasn't until a few years ago that I combined the two techniques, Chinese painting and encaustics. So when I did, it was just kind of like a revelation to me of, this works so well together. How I got into Chinese painting is that my blood pressure was really high. So I looked into what I could do, and they gave me 3 choices: Chinese painting, meditation, and I forgot the other one. Well, I'm not a meditator, so I said I better start learning Chinese painting, and that's how I got into it. Okay, we're on Wax Myrtle Trail, and when I first started to paint Florida trees, I came here, and I was so excited to learn there was a whole trail full of wax myrtle. I walked around, and it was almost like being at a fashion show because each tree had a little bit something different about it, and I'd walk through the trail and I'd go, "Hey, you look nice, I love your outfit," or "Leaves are good, but bark is a little too skinny." And I was very picky until finally I found a tree that I wanted to capture. So what I would do is to study the tree, see what really came out for me, what really was of interest to me to interpret in my painting, and then I'd get started. This is one that I did at Boyd Hill when I first found out there was a whole trail of this very special tree. One thing that hit me at first was the bark. The spots on the bark, the different colors on the bark. So I knew that was something that needed to be in my picture. I was more interested in the bark and the small branches rather than the leaf part of the tree. And you'll also see some almond shapes in this picture. And you'll see them in a lot of my pictures. I was taking a class and I did sand dollars. And the teacher said, oh, you need a background for it. I walked home and the words Italian Renaissance kept coming into my head. I said, what do sand dollars have to do with the Italian Renaissance? And I began to look it up, and I found out that sand dollars were actually treasured during the Italian Renaissance because they have an almond shape. When you see those little 5 objects in a sand dollar, they're almond shaped. Almond shapes and mandorlas surrounded saints in the Italian Renaissance, so they were very treasured. And after that, I started putting almond shapes in most of my pictures. Now we're going to head over to a spot where there's some great cypress knees. I learned a lot about cypress knees. Scientists really don't know the purpose that they play. And I went to maybe 5, 6, 7 other spots until I found the spot that you're going to see right now. I think if you take a look, you'll see so many interesting structures. It's not hard to do something beautiful when you're out in nature because nature provides so many interesting things for you to take a look at. And it wasn't hard picking out the ones that I wanted to do from all of these that I was seeing. This one is cypress knees, and you've seen the area where I captured these and the way they just kept going out to the horizon and just followed each other. I've shown this picture to a few people, and one thing that they always said that interests me, they feel that it's a landscape from another world, and in a way it is. I loved hearing that comment and seeing what they were seeing as they walked through that picture. Nature is driving the pictures. So it's like really what I'm seeing, I'm really just, I love what nature already did so that I don't have to mess with it too much, you know? Just pick out what I want to highlight. I love having my pictures shown all together, okay? And I'm very interested. I think the area is interesting as far as the special plants that you have there. I can't wait to start exploring the plants that are in the area myself. I'm fascinated already. I think the museum's going to be a very special place for me in that regard, you know, that it's going to give me a lot, as well as I want to share what I did with the museum.